esteemed colleagues and fellow business analysis professionals. I extend a warm welcome to each one of you at our 5th BA Excellence Conference, an initiative brought to life through the collaboration efforts of the Global BA Community, EPAM, and Community Day organization. My name is Eugenia Ovcharenko, and it's with immense pride and responsibility that I serve at the head of the Global BA Community. Today, I stand before you not just to inaugurate this significant event, but to embark on a collective journey of exploration and insights. This year, the theme of our conference is BA Job Function Transformation. It's a mirror reflecting the evolving landscape of business analysis. And together we will journey through the past, present, and envision the future of our profession, analyzing how our responsibilities have shifted, adapted, and will continue to evolve. This theme is not only timely, but vital, as it shows our roles are always moving and changing in the business world. An illustrative example of significant changes of our professional lives has made us adapt the conference format. Recognizing the importance of your time and commitment, we have structured the conference to spend the entire week from Monday to Friday with sessions limited with no more than 2 hours each day. These thoughtful adjustments ensure that our conference enriches your professional growth without detracting from your ongoing projects. And our agenda is full of engaging 30-minute talks and interactive sessions. This approach not only facilitates a rich exchange of knowledge and ideas, but also respects the balance between learning and doing. And remember, BA Community is a space for open dialogue, mutual support, and shared growth. I encourage all of you to engage, question, and contribute, making the most of interactive opportunities that lies ahead. And without any more delay, let's dive into a week filled with insightful discussions and learnings. Thank you for being here, for your commitment to our shared profession, and for your contribution to our community growth. And let me pass the word to Roman Sakharov, Director and Head of Business Analysis Discipline at EPAM, to introduce the theme of the conference. Hi, Roman. Thank you for joining us today, and happy to see you on the stage.
Thank you, Eugenia. Hi, guys. Hi, dear ladies and gentlemen. Glad to see you today. Thank you for having me here today. And again, I welcome you today to this great conference with really inspiring topics, especially understanding, what's happening now in the market, and how our things are boiling around us. So we are always committed to bringing you value from the conference, and we always try to ensure that the topics we are talking about are, on the spot and really help you to evolve yourself as a professional. That helps clients, that helps, yourself growing professionally. And this is, the same target for this conference, like for this week. So just a couple of, let's say, words from my side, what is happening around. I'm sure you've seen, that during the last year or even 2 years, everything was, we had a perfect storm, actually. Everything was evolving so fast, things were popping up all the time, and actually the market is changing all the time. And, now with this global instability, with the wars emerging everywhere, with the fact that we do have a market decline in the software industry, and that AI is changing everything around us. And, a lot of professionals are actually saying that this is another internet level, thing coming our way with AI changing our jobs. So, and all these things are actually influencing on the fact that we need also to adapt as professionals, as business analysts. And, just 2 weeks ago, I was also 3 weeks ago, I was also speaking in the Toronto conference PMB World. And, I guess maybe 5 of 25 topics were about artificial intelligence. So this just shows, how all these things are even changing within other conferences out there in the world. And obviously this impacts us, right? Us business analysts, product managers, project managers, software professional, technologists. Actually, this is a very important point for us, right? Because during the last, maybe, I don't know, 12 years before, before 2022, uh, yeah, we had our, let's say, bursts, we had our evolution as well, but that was pretty predictable, I would say. Now it gets unpredictable and more unpredictable with every day. And the thing is that the bar is raising for us as well. So for us, for professionals, it's not like it was before. Uh, Again, the market is full of professionals from other companies, from consulting companies as well. McKinsey's is dropping people. PwC's, the big four, are dropping people. Everybody's there, and obviously, the competition for every new position is much higher on the market. So, and what does it mean for us, right? How it actually influences us. So the fact is that we need to adjust our skills. We need to understand what is happening on the market, on how we have to adjust our skills. Because obviously, technology industry was always like growing fast, and you always had to learn new technologies. You had to understand, how these new trends, some couple of years or 5-10 years ago, like UX works, how then data works, how cloud works. Now it comes to AI. But now it is coupled with this change on the market, with this with this competition growing, and potential replacement of low level jobs with AI. So this influences all of us. And during our this week's conference, we will be talking about that. And we have some great speakers, absolutely great people. I've been working with a lot of them together. I've been working with them, and these guys, they really know what they are talking about. They are actually those professionals that are there on the edge, and they are pushing this edge forward. They are actually making this work. So, and let's be more specific. What's that about, right? What are we going to talk about? So the first of all, it's hard to be generalist, right, in the future of business analysis. So yeah, maybe during the last years, the last 10 years or so, some of us had enjoyed the luxury of being the business analysis generalist, as again stated by IIBA. But now, unfortunately, the thing is that we need to specialize. We need to add more to those skills of business analysts that we have. And that depends on your aptitude. That depends, on the trends which we have on the market. And this is, by the way, what we are going to be talking about. So the thing is that, yeah, now we are closer to the industry, knowledge, and it's important, is growing every day. So, like some couple of years before, it was easier for us to just go without it, or just have a little of industry knowledge to still work there, because the competition was so high. Now it's not longer like that, right? We need to have this industry knowledge, and moreover, we need to collaborate with consulting people, right, who also have this deep industry knowledge and understanding on how market moves. The other thing is obviously, this cloud development, because a lot of companies are still due for their cloud transformations, or are still doing that. And if you check Statista, a report on the top 3 transformational programs that are happening there, again, and that will be there. So the first one is digital transformation. The second one is actually cloud transformation, and the third one is cybersecurity, right? So these are the trends which are there for us. So, and obviously this impacts us as business analysts, right? Because we need to know all these things, right? We need to know how digital transformation happens. We need to understand how cloud transformation happens. We need to start learning about cybersecurity. So these are all things that will be there for us. And obviously, because a lot of our clients do optimize their spendings, we also sometimes play the role of Scrum Master, right? Because they don't want to pay for a couple of people like BA and Scrum Master, right? So then that's why we have both BA and Scrum Master positions on the rise. And obviously product ownership and product management skills. So I think that maybe at some point in future we will join together with the product management. Still, we are pretty close, in this current world. But yeah, we will be talking about that as well. Also, a very important thing, and again, we were talking about globalizations, years before, but now I think that because of this very let's say unstable global world, a lot of countries, a lot of markets are willing to be let's say more specific to their locality, to their cultural specifics, and this is something that we also need to respond to. So again, languages and cultural awareness. And obviously, guys, I mean, this is I left, this cherry for the last but not least. It's one of the most important things now is happening is obviously data and artificial intelligence with topics like AI productivity, like how AI impacts our uh, clients' businesses, and even AI ethics, right? How we should use AI ethically, because it's not longer just sorry, but blah blah, just something. We are actually using AI now to help our clients to transform our businesses. We are helping ourselves to be more productive with AI. And you'll obviously see a lot of topics in AI out there. So, guys, I think that we are in a very sweet spot these days, and a lot of technologists are saying that we are on the brink, of another internet-like revolution. So this is a great time to be living in, because a lot of interesting things are coming our way. And I encourage you to join our sessions during the conference, because we will be discussing all these, trends and all these changes that are happening to our business analysis profession out there. So please join us. Please, check all these trends. Please implement them. Please use them for your skills improvement and for making our clients happier, for making your professional life even more interesting. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, let's proceed with the conference. Let's start. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. You're very welcome to our first speech in our BA Excellence Conference. This is conducted by the BA Global Community, and we're happy to see you all here. Just remind that our sessions is recorded, and you'll be able later on find all the recordings, all the speakers, all the events on our channels in our global community on YouTube and all the places related on our pages of our community. So, first of all, as I already said, you're very welcome. My name is Alona. I am a facilitator of our first speech on this conference, and first speech will be about very pressing topic for our days, for all the BAs around all the world. We're going to talk about our evolving of the BA roles. What are the challenges? Are we ready for them? But before that, I'd like kindly remind you that first of all, you're very welcome to leave all your questions on our We Are community page of this talk, also on YouTube channel of our community of our BA conference today. And more than that, we would kindly ask you to rate our talks. This talk, our speaker, unfortunately, there is no chance to rate facilitator, but I will just believe that I'm the best one. Okay, so our first speech is evolving BA roles. Are we ready? Are we ready for the new challenges? And our first speaker is Vivian Wan. Hello, Vivian. How are you today?
Hello, Lorna. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I feel really honored and humbled to be the first speaker of our BA Excellence Conference this time.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Thanks for being ready to share with us your experience. Just several words, guys, about our Vivian. Vivian is a certified business analyst. She's in our sphere of BA analysis for more than 7 years already. Have a great experience in financial sphere services domain and other domains. She's an active contributor in many our communities related to BAs. And more than that, as a secret, just as a secret, she lives in a town where we'd say a world panda's house. And we'd like to ask you, Vivian, have you visited pandas to prepare to your talk today?
Well, not really. I just wonder, I think pandas, they might be too relaxed for our
Yeah,
fast-paced world of BA.
correct. I think that we all should go there on our weekends to have our relaxed time and preparing us for our week for Mondays. Okay, all stages are yours, Vivian, and you're very welcome with your speech. Evolving BA roles. Are we ready for the new challenge?
Okay, thank you, Alona. Speaking of the fast-paced world of BA, let me share with you my slides first. I'd like to share with you a picture first. Are you all able to see my screen with the picture? Hello? Okay. Um, so I'd like to share with you this picture first. This is an iterative product development process where you can see a car evolves from a skateboard, then to a bike, then to a motorbike, and then finally to a car. As BA, we are often busy with supporting product iteration, ensuring each version evolves and improves to meet dynamic market demands. However, given the current market changes and rapidly advancing technology, the question is, if in a sense we BA our product ourselves, what will be the new feature for our next iteration? And how can we develop these new features? So with this question in mind, today I'd like to initiate this discussion with all of you. Evolving BA role, are we ready for the new challenges? I like to break down my presentation into three parts. First of all, I'll talk about how BA role has evolved over time. So this is basically to define our current state. And then we will talk about new challenges and why. This is to define our future state. And finally, we'll talk about strategies for new challenges, basically to bridge the gap between the current to the future. All right, let's get started. Let's take a moment to trace our BA journey from its early beginning to its current form. Imagine a world back in 1980s where computers were like this, something out of scientific movie. They were big, bulky, and incredibly expensive. Only the government and very few big companies could afford them, and the end users are mainly programmers. Therefore, at that time, BA is known as system analyst and more focusing on software engineering. The role was played by programmers themselves, besides their coding responsibilities. And thanks to technology advancement, personal computers become more common. So at that time, end users can actually interact directly with the system by keyboard and starting to give feedback on user interfaces. Then comes a challenge. No matter how expert the business user and the programmers were in their own field, they struggled to communicate effectively. Thus, BA was born like the superhero with the power or the magic to bridge the gap between IT and business and, and technology team to facilitate the change. In its early stages, the primary focus of the BA role was to support successful project delivery by defining problems, gathering requirements, and documenting solutions. As time goes on, BA matured in 2003 when IIBA, which is International Institute of Business Analysis, was established, bringing more structure and recognition to the evolving role of business analysts across industries. And as time further moves on, in response to fast market needs and the need to deliver quickly to gain more opportunities, organizations started to transit to agile frameworks. This further changed the BA role with a focus on obtaining requirements in ledgers just in time and prioritizing user journeys and user goals. Focus more on collaborative conversations, which eliminates the need for lengthy requirement gathering phases and sign offs, leading to more efficient project delivery. Okay, when we reflect on this journey, it's evident that the role of our business analyst is continually evolving to adapt to changing technical advancement, market demands, and project methodologies. Well, when we think about the future, it's natural to wonder what lies ahead and how will the role continue to evolve. When we approach this question, we might have different perspectives, and I'm not trying to make predictions on all of them. But today, I'd like to focus on three potential trends, drawing from my recent observation, project experiences, and research. There are blurring gap between business and technology, ongoing importance of data, and AI-empowered business analysis. First of all, let's look at the blurring gap between business and technology. In the past, technology was considered an enabler for business process, and as BI, our primary role was to analyze and define business problems. Just as this picture shows, the business workflows could be too manual, which caused low efficiency and increased cost. As BI, we ask, how can technology help business solve this problem? However, as the line between business and technology is fading, technology is gradually becoming the driving force behind business process. The focus shifted to delight the customer by the new digital capabilities. Now we ask, what can technology do to enhance the business opportunities? Let's take the banking industry as an example. Banks are no longer traditional financial institutions. They can become fintech companies. One of the clients I worked with is the largest commercial bank in Singapore, which has successfully transformed into a top digital bank globally. Years ago, the CEO set a powerful challenge to act more like a technology startup and less like a bank. To achieve this, the leadership team sought inspiration not just from other banks, but from tech giants like Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and Google. And then the bank set a series of changes aiming to make it a tech organization that delivers banking services. As a result, it stands out as one of the world's best digital banks. Another example is in today's rapidly evolving digital landscape, businesses are increasingly leverage cloud technology. According to Gartner 2024 prediction, by 2027, more than 50% of enterprises will move to cloud, comparing to 15% in 2023. This means more and more business process will move to cloud. So it's important for BAs to understand the concept and technology so that we can collaborate better with development teams to ensure seamless integration of cloud solution with business processes. What's more, solutions nowadays are typically more complex. It's a combination of different things. For example, if you want to leverage the machine learning algorithm, we probably need big data analytics. We also need to consider migrating all the data to cloud. All this need to work together to achieve the business goal. So, as BI, we no longer can just appreciate the technologies, but maybe move a step further to understand them better, to support our business better. Secondly, as the organization undergoes digital transformation, the number of systems, applications, and data continues to grow. Business manage more data than ever before. For example, for e-commerce company, they generate personalized sales recommendation based on customer behavior and preferences data. Financial services, they rely data for risk management and fraud detection. Manufacturing sector, they adopt IoT device to collect data from machines and optimize production efficiency. So, as BI, we have more chances to work with data and use that data to enable business to make more informed decisions. Taking a project I recently worked on, for instance, the project scope is to build an online loan application workflow. One important step is to validate clients' financial health and credibility to ensure customers are eligible to apply for the loan. This process requires getting data from various internal and external systems. When I worked in a project, my role is clearly defined to include data and API identification, API analysis, and documentation, supporting mapping the appropriate attribute from one system to another. Besides, I'm also a technical interviewer for BAs in EPAM. I recently observed that the job descriptions for prospective candidates now often include data related skills. So, the conclusion is data analytics will continue to be an essential part for business analysis. Those who can effectively work with data will be quite competitive. Last but not least, let's talk about Gen AI. It has been mentioned almost everywhere nowadays. It's not just a buzzword, but definitely accelerate the change of BA role as well. One simple example I can share is I've already seen the client that I worked with have adopted the technology to develop their own chatbot, which support project manager BAs to generate epic user story and test the cases automatically. How does that work? As an end user, just by simply entering a few lines for project objective and scope in the chatbot, the language model will leverage the bank's knowledge base as the context and then automatically generate epic user story with acceptance criteria, further down to test the cases just at one go. Then PM or BA can use the outcome as the baseline to take it forward. Sounds interesting? I believe a future BA will need to learn to collaborate with AI to augment our BA skill, just like how we use Google search today. In terms of AI assisted BI, just to give you a heads up, Anna Spinova will be giving a talk on creating your own BA assistants with ChatGPT on 17th of April. So if this interests you, be sure to stay tuned. Okay, that is the time we need to talk about the strategies to prepare for the new challenges. With the rapid evolution of these different trends, we probably are thinking, how do we develop a skill set that not only meets current demands, but also anticipate the future trends? I believe this is not only about skill acquisition, whether you need to learn cloud, big data, or Gen AI, but more about mindset shift. The key among this shift is adaptability. As quoted here, at the core of managing change is building that muscle of adaptability. Because let's be practical here, change is constant and inevitable. As BI, we need to welcome changes with an open mind. Acknowledging that nowadays business and technology can no longer operate in their own world separately. This can help us stay ahead of the curve, enable us to proactively identify opportunities for innovation, growth, and improvement. Besides mindset shift, continuous learning is also critical. Just as what we do in retrospective in our agile projects, learning can be an ongoing process. We can learn via different channels, no matter via formal training, project experience, or sharing like this. We can use that learning and reflect on our previous work. Think about what didn't work well. It could be ineffective stakeholder management, insufficient comprehension of technical or business concepts, poor team collaboration. So, no matter what it is, it's crucial to dig deep into the root cause. And then we learn from this experience and apply it in our future endeavors. Embracing this reflective approach help us draw lessons and thus enhance our capability to adapt in ever-changing business environments. Speaking about learning, so how can we foster our learning journey? In order to assist the BI in successfully transitioning into the digital future, IIBA proposed three actionable tracks in their 2018 white paper titled Go Acrossing the Chasm. Let's look at them one by one. First of all, focus on BA core skill, which is master fundamental business analysis skills. This includes what covers in BA body of knowledge, for example, BA planning and monitoring, elicitation and collaboration, requirement lifecycle management. The core BA techniques and skills, they are still relevant and may even become more critical in the complex digital world. Track 2 is to gain expertise in a business domain. In the digital world, domain experts still remain relevant, and they can be the fundamental business principles, best practices, industry trend, the solution of a specific process. This helps us be more efficient in requirement gathering and stakeholder engagement. Well, while BA foundation and business domain, they are relative compulsory. And the third track is to deep dive of the technology track. We can select one or more technology track to do deep dive. This will lead us to BA specialization, for example, like FinTech BA or Cloud BA. So these are all the learning tracks for BI. Finally, to pursue these learning tracks effectively, there are some learning resources I find useful. One way is to make good use of the online learning platform, such as LinkedIn, Coursera, Udemy. So it has a wide coverage of all three tracks that you can take a look. And within EPAM, we also have in-house learning and development platform. Here I have shared some example for AI courses. For example, AI-assisted business analysis, learning with AI-assisted tools, which are quite helpful courses. Besides, professional certification is also a great way to gain knowledge systematically. For BA Foundation, we can always consider certifications such as IIBA CBIP, which has systematic BA approach. IIBA also has specialty certification focused on, for example, agile business analysis or business data analysis or cybersecurity that you can take a look. And for business domains, I believe for each business or industry, they've got their own respective certification. Here I just list like Salesforce has also got BA certification. And for technology, I recently completed some cloud certification. So I take the cloud as example. So I find those cloud vendor certifications which has quite systematic education learning journey. So here I listed example for AWS. You can see the learning path can be based on role or based on solutions, which are worth exploring based on your specific project or needs. So these are very useful resources for our continuous learning. Okay, uh, I'm going to wrap up for my presentation. I hope you find it helpful in some way. We've actually covered a lot, and we also talked a lot about the importance of technology. But the key message at the last I want to highlight is not about technology, but with the right mindset and continuous learning, we can be the calm in the storm. Okay, this comes to the end. So if you have any questions or concerns, I'd be happy to discuss with you. Thank you all, and now I will hand over to Lorna. So thank you, Lorna.
Yeah, thank you, Vivian. It was really, really, really up to date. I think each and every BA thinks during these days, during these years, what are our next steps? And actually, we do have several questions. And first of all, is like this. I see that many have the same in their heads. GPT says that the main challenge for future BA is quick adaptability to very many evolving technologies like AI, machine learning, big data, and necessity of constant learning. Are you agree with that?
Yes, I agree. I think for as also shared in my talk, it's really important to keep learning. I think because currently the technology and business or evolves quite rapidly. I mean, I think as BI, it's really important to be open mind and embrace the new changes, new challenges. So it's really critical for us to learn different things, but it may sound overwhelming at some point of time of when we're hearing all this technology. I think it's not feasible, of course, to learn all of them, but it's necessary or also feasible to learn some of them based on our specific role or project needs. And it's really important to say that it's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly, exactly. Thank you, Vivian. Another question would be about transition to product owner. As we all know, many BAs transit or try to learn to be good product owners. What do you think about that? Will be this a successful way for BAs in our upcoming future? And if yes, what is required to become a good product owner?
Um, I think first of all, I think a BA and a product owner definitely has a lot of overlapping roles. I based on my understanding, I think product owner is more high level or focused on the product vision, while BA more focused on the lower level of the details of the requirements. So I think definitely the answer is yes. It's possible for BA to transfer to PO, and as also I said what I suggested in the deck, it's important. If you want to pursue for the PO role, probably you can consider some certification or reflect or share doing some sharing like this to gain more PO expertise. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. That is true. And due to the time limit, we have many more questions, guys. And thanks for raising that. We would kindly ask you to continue raise them in our community chat and in YouTube chat, and we will try to answer all of them offline, definitely. Um, the very last questions. Let us try to be very brief on that. And very important one. Do you think, Vivian, that human based skills will still be necessary regardless the automation in our future, nearest future, let's say?
Of course, and definitely, I think I'm more optimistic on the side of all this emergent technology. I think AI all these things will be a very helpful tool for us to enhance our work efficiency in the future. But it's still very important for the human skills because as humans, we still want to interact with humans, and no matter how powerful those AI systems it is, it's still important to have like to ask insightful questions, to have empathies on the customers, and
Exactly.
also yeah, all this to build the relationship or maintain the stakeholder engagement. So these human skills are still important, or even more become more critical in the future.
That's so true. That's so correct. I'm with you, completely with you on that. Okay, Vivian, thanks a lot. That was really important for all of us. And guys, just remind you that you can rate our talk, that you're very welcome to come back to our community to learn about all the podcasting events that we have, all the talks, all the recordings that are for your convenience on our channels. I would also introduce you our great opportunity during this conference to to have a discount on our book of our main talkers. Just a second, I'll share the uh, doo-doo-doo. Unfortunately, not so quick, not so quick. Um, not able to do that technically, but I hope the next talk will be you will be able, and we'll also, of course, share with you the special discount for the Empower by Me Adults Handbook by Midula Dey. And during the days of our conference, you can have this 10% off to buy this book, and I hope that we'll be able to share with you the exact link to the discount and to this book. And now I'm just passing the ball to our next talk, very exciting one with Alina Zaripova, BA Trends in Life Science. Thank you for being with us, and please stay with us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Desislava, or Desi for short, and I'm here to present to you Alina Zaripova, who is going to present the talk on BA Trends in Life Sciences. Without further ado, because we don't have a lot of time, Alina, there you go.
Hello, dear listeners. Thank you for joining to our wonderful conference. Today, I would like to talk about business analysts trends in life science. And first of all, I will start with the terminology. I will talk about top life science companies, my experience in life science project, what is life science for me, project specific and project examples. The role of the BA in life science, collaboration with the scientists and stakeholders, and key skills which you need to have. Example of lab projects and BA trends in life science. First of all, I want to start with my life science experience, how I started work as a BA in life science. Previously, I worked as a business analyst in different business domain, such as healthcare, retail. In parallel, also, I am doing a scientific research. It's about extract information defects from infrared images using machine learning and computer vision algorithms. During this scientific experience, I wrote about 5 papers, and now I have about 18 citations. About terminology, first of all, life science, it's not only science, it is industry. It refers different application of scientific knowledges and principles, including pharmaceutical, biotechnology, healthcare, and agriculture. It involves to use science as biology, chemistry, and different disciplines to develop product, technologies, and solutions that have a direct impact on human health. Life science includes biology, genetics, psychology, microbiology, zoology, botany, neuroscience, biotechnology, pharmacology, and environmental science. Different life science companies working in this scientific area. There are top 10 life science companies in the world. The global pioneer in pharmaceutical and diagnostics is Roche company. Second is Johnson & Johnson. It operates in pharmaceutical medical devices. Novartis, it's a multinational pharmaceutical company focusing on innovative medicine, eye care, and generic pharmaceuticals. Pfizer work mostly with the vaccines, oncology, and various therapeutic areas. Merck is a global healthcare company working on vaccines, prescriptions, medicines, and animal health products. AstraZeneca, it is a global biopharmaceutical company dedicated to discovering, developing, delivering innovative medicine in different areas such as respiratory, cardiovascular, and metabolic disease. Also, there are Gilead biopharmaceutical company, Sanofi, AbbVie, and GlaxoSmithKline. These life science companies are dividing into three types. It is healthcare, biopharmaceutical, and pharmaceutical companies. What life science for me? So life science, it's not only business, it is also about scientific domain. So you are working between business and scientists, science. You see not only academic science, you are collaborating with the business, with the science, and you are in touch with the high technology market trends. Also, you're in touch with the new technology solution, and you are actively participating in collaboration as a bridge gap between scientific advancement and business application. So this is life science. It's a highly growing international market. You are learning new technology solution, identifying areas for automation, supporting the implementation of digital strategies. It helps you participate. Yes.
I'm very sorry to interrupt you. Can you just please click the hide on the sharing, because otherwise the audience cannot.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. And also, you are involving in digital transformation with advancement in areas like telemedicine, electronic health, and digital therapeutic. So you are working with automating different life science areas for laboratories and scientists. So life science project specific depends on industry of the company and their scientific research area, which needs IT development. Some of the life science company use 3 or 4 different research area. There are, you can see clinical trial management system. This is system to manage trial and clinical drugs development. Pharmaceutic and genomic data analysis. You are working with analyzing huge data according to genomic laboratory solutions, drug discovery and computational chemistry software. So you are analyzing and predicting some discovery for chemistry, electronic data capture, system integration. Sometimes scientists in laboratory working with different instruments, and you need to connect to this instrument and collect all the data and analyze them. Also, this is pharmaceutical regulatory information management systems. It's about managing pharmaceutical documentation. supply chain and inventory management systems. So scientists mostly working in laboratory with different samples and drugs, and you need to make an inventorization of these samples. So this is systems about regulatory compliance software. Of course, the main in life science, you're using artificial intelligence and machine learning projects using different methods and algorithms to predict and analyze data. Laboratory information management systems. This is systems also like inventory when you are collecting and analyzing laboratory information. Pharmacovigilance and drug safety systems, biotechnology process automations, medical imaging and radiology system. So you're working with analyzing medical imaging and analyzing some information, extracting it, and it helps for the doctors to understand um, information. So also clinical decision support systems. It's also based in artificial intelligence. It helps to predict some diseases and make a right decision for the doctors. Telemedicine and remote monitoring. It's about virtual reality when you can see, for example, virtual laboratory and work with it. When you're working with a BA, when you are working as a BA in life science, you need to collaborate with scientists. And I would like to talk about that how it is important to know domain in example of the life science. So we are working. So I'm working as a BA from IT field, and I have like my partner from customers. It is a scientist with a BA role, and our end user is a scientist. So we are working between business objectives and technology solution in context of pharmaceutical, biotechnology, healthcare, and other scientific research. So our key stakeholders. First of all, of course, it is a scientist in laboratory playing main role in research and development in fields such as pharmaceutical, biotechnology, clinical research in laboratories. Also, second, our main stakeholders, it is a business user. Sometimes it could be scientists or management. It is people who are working with the software systems and our technology solution. Of course, all the systems which we are developing has a system owner. System owner is a person, sometimes it is a scientist. He is responsible for the overall management, control, and decision making. So he know good science, scientific research, and automatization of this laboratory workflow. So business QA sometimes it's mostly as could be a scientist, could be management, and other people in laboratory who are working with this laboratory workflow. I will not talk about all business analyst skills because you know it good, but I would like to highlight main skills which you should know when you are working in life science. First of all, you should strongly know domain knowledges. It could be pharmaceutical, biotechnology, clinical research, and healthcare. In this life science industry, sometimes you have regulatory compliance. You should know and read this compliance. It could be FDA regulation documentation, good clinical practices, some laboratory practices, and manufacturing practices, because you are working with automation process not only in laboratory research, and also in manufacturing and developing drugs. The main skills also in life science is data analysis, because you are working mostly with the large data sets related to clinical trials, drug development, patient information, and scientific research. You have a huge big data, and you need to analyze this data using some technologies and predict, for example, some diseases. Also, I would like to highlight communication skills, because this is very important, because you are working with a scientist and you bridge the gap between technical and non-technical stakeholders. You need to translate scientific and technology concepts into business terms you are discussing with the business and developers in a team, for example, who doesn't know this scientific terminology. Also, key skills, it's quality assurance because you are working a lot with different data. Um, clinical trials, technical proficiency. So, for example, life science now highly growing, and they have already laboratory information management systems and clinical trial management systems. You should know this system as a user. And of course, we have a lot of scientific and patient data, and you should know about data privacy and security. You should know these requirements because we need to save sensitive patient data and scientific research. My life science team example. So I'm working in a hybrid team from different companies in different locations. We have a manager, architect, 2 business analysts, about 15 developers, 1 DevOps lead, and few test engineers. We are working with developing and supporting applications such as assay sample collection tools, workflow management automation tools, systems for data collection and management in laboratory, lab asset and management tools, spectra analysis, and tracking labeling tools. Project examples. So as I said previously, it depends on a specific scientific workflow. Most of life science project, it's about automating a laboratory workflow. And laboratories have different experiments relating different areas. But most of the laboratories working with automating the dispensing of reagent samples for experiments. There are, you can see at the picture, automating automatic liquid handler. This is robotic systems. It's using in different scientific research like a PCR setup, PCR assay, high throughput screening, protein purification, and other. So you should create development systems which will help for the scientists to prepare matrix with the different samples and liquids with the different reagents, like a file, and these robotic systems, according to this file, will distribute these samples with different reagents. It will help scientists to reduce manual steps and prepare for the experiments with accurate samples. And now I want to highlight life science technology trends. There are 4 main trends you can see. So first of all, it is of course artificial intelligence. Nowadays, artificial intelligence widely using in different areas, and also it is revolutionizing life science by accelerating drug discovery, predicting disease patterns, and optimizing treatment plans. Also in life science, using macro robots, this is a tiny machines designed to navigate within the human body, hold so it holds drugs and to deliver to the targeting place in the surgery and diagnostics. So they are using different of the camera, and scientist or doctor can see all information using these micro robots without surgery, for example. Also, it's widely using 3D printing. So technology prepare some 3D models and with the complex biological structures such as tissue, organs, and printing different things for the human body or for the scientific research. So metaverse, it is metaverse, it's about virtual reality widely using in laboratories. So artificial intelligence in life science also divided into different areas. So this is a clinical trial optimization, drug discovery and development, precision medicine, healthcare management, regulatory compliance and safety, medical imaging, drug repurposing, virtual health assistant. Microrobots also divided in tissue engineering and regenerative medicine, surgery, minimally invasive procedures, biological sensing and monitoring, lab-on-a-chip platforms, biomedical nanorobotics, in vivo imaging and diagnostics. Third one is about 3D printing, also divided in different areas like surgical planning and simulation, printing for tissue and engineering, customizing some medical devices, point of care manufacturing, and the last one, it's metaverse. As I said previously, it using for virtual laboratories and research environments. So it also using for drug discovery and molecular modeling. So we are preparing virtual reality for it. It's also using for medical training and education, for patient education and engagement when you are explaining a surgery process, for example, for students. It's also virtual clinical trials and drug developments, and it helps in remote healthcare delivery and telemedicine. So thank you for listening my topics. So I hope it was very interesting for you. And if you have any questions, you could ask me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elena, for this stimulating overview of all these cutting edge technology that is used in the curious field of life sciences, I would say. Yes, we do have questions, and I would like to start with the first one, which is how do you get into the field of life sciences?
As I said in my presentation, so I worked with as a BA in life science. In parallel, I worked as a scientist and prepared scientific research. It helped me to use different artificial intelligence and mathematical methods and algorithms in my scientific research. Also, I used these principles in life science and started to work as a scientist and with a BA role in different life science projects.
Mm-hmm. And what are the difficulties that you encounter in your work in the life sciences?
I think our main difficulties it is knowing deeply life science industry, and you should know some scientific and biology terminology, and you should discuss difficult things and understand from science, and prepare task of, for example, for developers and describe it in documentation.
Yeah. Another question that we have here is do you use neural networks and how do you do this in your current projects?
Yes, we are using neural network and other artificial intelligence instruments. So we are working with a lot of scientific research data. We are analyzing this data. We need to understand how this data distributed according to the research. We are creating a neural network and using different mathematical methods to extract main information and sometimes predict how it will be in the future.
Okay, thank you. And last one I will include for now is how exactly do you manage to be the communication in a team as a BA in such a project?
First of all, I need to clearly understand business and scientific needs. I'm trying to communicate, ask right questions, prepare documentation. Mostly, I'm writing like a concept of the new development system. After it, I try to get approval from the science and business that I understand everything fine, and after it, we can discuss internally with the developers. Sometimes I'm not using scientific and difficulty terminology. I'm just simply try to prepare sketch some and diagrams and mock-ups to help development team to understand my business analyst work.
Yeah, yes. And actually, we have a really quick, one more quick question is, are there many BAs that have education in life sciences?
As I see from my experience, sometimes BA in life science comes from biology, so they have a good, strong background as scientists in biology, chemistry, and other fields. They have a degree as a biologist and chemist, and it helps them successfully work as a BA in a life science industry.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If you have any other questions, you can forward it to the comments in YouTube or to the comments in our We Are Community page for the talk. And I would also like to remind you that you can get 10% discount on the book of one of our speakers, Midula Dey. Here you can scan the QR code, and I'm also going to post information on the community, and also in YouTube, you'll get it as well. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you, Alina, for presenting this really interesting topic to us.
Thank you.
Hello, participants. So our talk today is the interview with Midula Dey, who's a business consultant, author, and thought leader on navigating imposter syndrome and self-doubt. Midula will tell us why acknowledgement of imposter syndrome and self-doubt goes hand in hand with problem-solving strategy, tactics for skill transformation, and impact. Yulia Timoshenko, who's a senior BA manager from EPAM, will be the interviewer. Ladies, please.
Hello, everybody. Victoria, thank you for introduction. Midula, I am very happy for this opportunity today to be in the role of your interviewer. Thank you for accepting our proposal, basically, to take part in the Excellence Conference. And let me share with the audience that we met with you already almost 2 years ago, but totally in other roles. And a lot of happened since then. You wrote a book, but first things first. Midula, please tell about yourself and your journey.
Yulia, firstly, thank you so much for inviting me to this great conference. I'm really excited to be here and sharing thoughts around imposter syndrome and for your audience to get some key takeaways around it. Who would have thought when you and the rest of the EPAM team came to Kantar to help us on marketplace technology that fast forward a year, I would be here giving this conference. So thank you for the kind introduction. So in terms of my journey, I'm going to explain it in a slightly different way. So I'm going to go back to my parents. My parents came to the UK in the 1970s and they were immigrants. So my background is an immigrant background, low income. And my actual first language isn't English. It's actually Bengali. So I learned English when I was between 5 and 6 when I went to school, and neither of my parents spoke English. So how does someone like me then dare to go to a top university where I studied law and then decided to go and do accountancy when I was really, really, really bad at managing my own money, and then decided, hey, I want to have a career in banking. Let me go and enter this banking game. So where I started off working in a Japanese bank, I did trader P&Ls. So I calculated the trade P&Ls for traders and derivatives and also looking after new issues. I then worked at Deutsche Bank, where I was responsible for managing and overseeing the financial close end for the investment banking, global banking, and global transaction banking divisions. Then deciding, hey, I actually want to do something a bit different. I want to know more about budgets and costs. So then moving over into UBS asset management, and this is the case study we'll run through, where I took on a CFO role as looking after operations, technology, HR, and strategy, helping them manage their costs, and then deciding after that, hey, do you know what? I want another change. Let me go and work in UBS Group, and where I went around, spoke to divisional heads and department heads, and pitched ideas around how they could save money across the bank. And guess how much pitching experience I had at that point? I'm going to put you on the spot now.
No, please tell us about that one. I will try to guess.
Yeah, I had 0 pitching experience, and there's me trying to persuade someone, hey, I have this really cool idea. Please like it and please approve the project. And then deciding I wanted to change my career completely. And so I ended up leaving banking and decided to become an artist, set up a fashion label, and then in tandem become a freelancer. So where I again worked in banking and really specialized in project management and program management, to the point that I took on a data project when I had 0 experience in data. And when I met you, because I was so good at doing change, what had happened is someone had asked me, hey, when I was at HSBC, could you help set up a business management, a COO function? And I was, yeah, sure, why not? What is it? Let me find out and let me do it. Oh, and before I forget as well, along the way, I also had a really cool bucket list. So I climbed the highest mountain in Africa, Kilimanjaro. I also attempted to climb the second highest mountain in South America called Aconcagua, but got sick on the way. And I also wrote a book.
Oh my God. Such a great experience. Thank you for sharing that one. I believe our business analysts feeling this Kilimanjaro effect all the days and whenever they're joining the project. So today's discussion is about imposter syndrome. Why you believe it's important to discuss this topic and why it's important for BA transformation?
Okay, that's two great questions. Now, the reason why I explain my journey in that way is if you listen to that journey, externally you think, hey, Midula, you're very confident. You must have had this belief behind you. I bet you didn't suffer from imposter syndrome. It's so wrong. What I'll do is I'll answer what imposter syndrome is and explain why it's really important for the BA transformation, if that's okay. So now, imposter syndrome, all it really is the fact that you're expected to do this new role, this new function, but you don't have the skills yet. You don't have the experience yet. But guess what? Everyone around you is expecting you to be an expert. I'm sure you've had this, Julia, where especially you came into Kantar and everyone is like, yay, EPAM are here, hit the ground running, you're now the experts. So what?
Yeah, I had the same. And not only me, I believe all our people who are attending this conference, they had at least one the same.
Exactly. So when we actually define imposter syndrome and look at it as what it is, which is really us not having the skills yet, us not having the experience yet. So, hey, no wonder we have self-doubt. It's because we're expecting to perform in a function, in a role, where we're not there yet. And ideally, in a real nice world, what you'd like to see is you say, hey, I'm going to give you 6 to 8, 9 months, because it's been proven, it takes between 6 to 8, 9 months for you to be fully functional, to be an expert in your role. And then, I'll come to you as an expert. But we know.
No chances. No, we do not have such time.
And especially if we look at EPAM, you're going in and you're expected to be these consultants from the get-go. So you don't have that opportunity. And the reason why this is important is once you recognize what imposter syndrome really is, you can then control it and manage it. You can then get ahead of it. And rather than allowing it to control you, you can then say, hey, this is a situation I'm in. I'm a BA. I'm working in transformation. And guess what transformation is? It's change. So we know with change, everything is always moving. Nothing's ever going to be settled. And we as people, we're wired to hate change. We resist it. And yet, this community of amazing people here, be your BA, product manager, product owner, is working in that type of environment. So in summary, the reason why it's important is once you understand that you have imposter syndrome, you can then say, right, what do I need to actually tackle it? What are the strategies am I going to use so that I can manage that self-doubt? I can accelerate my skills learning. I can also accelerate my experience. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to give some practical advice in this interview.
Okay, so if imposter syndrome is a good thing or bad one?
100% good thing. And I'll tell you why. Right, because I'm here to debunk this view that imposter syndrome is a bad thing. Because if we already know that we're expected to be an expert, so for example, the first project you ever ran, or you've moved into your new role as a portfolio manager, and you're sat going, oh my gosh, I'm expected to be an expert, but I know for this role, these are the skills I need to have to be able to perform at that level, at the expert level. I know I need to have these experience that I can draw on to perform at that level. So now, if I know that I have imposter syndrome, by acknowledging it, rather than going into a panic attack and going into overwhelm and being stressed out and saying, hey, I can't do this, this is impossible, and acting in a reactionary way.
But that's for sure the first reaction, this like panicking part.
But it is usually what happens from my experience, and when we go through the UBS story case study, you want the ground to open up. I find my face goes red. I feel sick. I feel this complete overwhelm where I just think, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then if this was a film, you'd have the expletives, the coming out of my mouth. That's the reality. But by being able to say, okay, I know what this is. I know that this is where I am currently. This is where I need to be. I can then map out a roadmap of what skills do I need, what experience do I need, and what's the gap analysis. And then that becomes your personal development plan, where you then review strategies and tactics of how you get there, if you're getting any closer. So that's why, if you acknowledge it, you can proactively manage it. And you still will have the overwhelm. You'll still have the occasions where you go, oh my God, what am I doing? What's happening? You'll still have Kilimanjaro or even Everest probably at times. But that's because we're only human and that's natural.
So that is what you're saying right now. That is totally natural to feel all these like red face things. But what you need to do, you need to understand what's happening with you and you need to know how to deal with it.
Absolutely. And then there's a number of strategies and takeaways that we'll run through. We're not going to get through everything because one of the things is for the audience to, we're going to be fully transparent. Yulia and I were going through this and we said, oh my gosh, there's a lot of content here. How are we going to cover it all? And we said, what we're going to do, we're going to do our best and then we'll cover as much as possible, see where we get to. But each and every takeaway you'll get from here, from this session, is something that you can apply immediately after 12 o'clock, but hopefully you have lunch first.
Okay, I do not want to wait anymore. I would like really to hear more about your inspiring experience and real life stories. So I will not ask you if, but when, because we discussed already, everybody had that in your life. So when you had the situation that you felt uncomfortable and you didn't know what to start with and where to begin basically, and how did you become aware that you are dealing with imposter syndrome?
Great questions. I'm going to give you the best example I can think of. And this was when I was at UBS Asset Management. And let me paint the picture so you can all be in that same experience as myself. So my background had always been revenues, analytics, and more of a central role. But then I decided, hey, let me go and do a budgeting role at UBS. And I left a very, very safe job, a safe bank at the time, Deutsche Bank, to go to UBS. And the financial crisis had just hit. So when I went to UBS...
You were very brave doing that.
I didn't know that at the time. At the time, my boss had said to me, by the way, have you seen what's happening with your new employer? And I looked and my face fell. So imagine you're in the financial crisis, you've just joined this bank, you're in the cost area, looking after operations technology. There's a new CEO who's come in. There is so much pressure for you to all find savings and cost initiatives when you don't even have a cost savings background, when you don't have a budgeting background. And then the actual, and I'll give you some scale of this. So the actual budget I was looking after was 100 million Swiss francs, and it was between 500 to 700 headcount. And my normal job, yes, huge. So then my normal job was, my BAU job was looking after that. And my BAU job used to take from 8 in the morning to about 8, 9 in the evening. So I was there 6 months. And then guess what? My boss decides to give me a project. Woohoo! And I'm sure you've all been there. I'm sure you all recognize it. He decided to give me this project, and it was to roll out a global billing tool across UBS Asset Management. And that had about 100 million Swiss francs going through it as well. And this was a high-profile project that was sponsored by the group CTO of UBS. So not just in asset management. there are 3 key stakeholders. So we had the technology team, who are really interested in making sure that their customers, the consumers, they were charged the correct billing, charged the correct costs. You had the financial guys who were really interested about understanding the impact on each of the companies, because it was going to have an impact on the financial books and records. And then you have the businesses who are receiving the costs from the technology, from the usage, to make sure that they understood it and then the costs were fair. Then on top of that, we had a virtual team of 3, including myself. And don't forget, I was always already doing my BAU job between about 8, 9 in the morning till 7, 8 in the evening. And then I had, to make it more fun as well, I had to get 2 different sign-offs, one from the deputy CFO, from the finance perspective, and then one from the CTO. So that was just the background, so that you can...
I could only imagine that one, how you felt at that moment. That's crazy.
There's something...
Any chances to reject this role? Listen, like new project? No chances.
But what I do is, when we come to the key takeaways, I'll give you an insight of how I would have handled it. I think that's really useful. My initial thoughts were complete overwhelm, because I didn't know how to do it. I actually couldn't see. I was just completely thinking, I've got this, my main job to do, and my main job has so many things already. I'm already responsible for outsourcing and offshoring, which I knew nothing about. And then I have this project to do as well. And so it was either the choice of sink or swim. And this is where I learned the term sink or swim. So either you sink or you swim somehow. And I was determined that no matter what, even if I had one safety jacket, I would keep my head above water. So yeah, it was just a horrible...
And you survived, basically. That's why you are here sharing with us your amazing experience.
I'm here, survived, and I will give you a take on how to do it differently later. So yes.
So for such situations, you definitely need a plan. So what to start with, what to do in such situation? You have your job, BAU, then you have new project opportunity, also a lot of unknown parts. Where to go first?
I think the key thing, before you get to a plan, with problem solving, it's always about identifying the problems you face, the root cause, and not the symptoms. Because once you understand the root cause, you can then address them, and then you can come up with a clear strategy and tactic. And it becomes a lot more productive, and you end up, I like this philosophy of working smarter than harder. So I identified 7 problems that I was facing. We may not get through all 7 because we want to actually give some value here. So the first piece was my mindset of self-doubt. I was, oh my gosh, what's going on? And that was based on 2 tangible things. One is I didn't have the experience in project management. And I'm going to be a bit naughty. I'm just going to refer to my notes just to make sure that I capture this fully. So in terms of the mindset of self-doubt, I've been volunteered by my line manager to become this PM and expected to perform and drive the BA and SME work streams, as well as manage my finance BAU work job. I didn't have any project management qualifications. I'm sure many of you BAs and PMs or product owners have been in a similar situation as well. Then I had limited experience in technology delivery. I'm here trying to develop PM this very complex tool, which required me to run impact assessment across technology, finance, business needs, run proof of concept assessments and sign-offs, design like UAT testing and the framework, and do these things known as test scripts, which I had no idea what they were. And then also design and set up a post-implementation support, including training of the finance users. And the other piece around why this self-doubt arose was I had limited time availability. As I'd already mentioned, I was always responsible for a BAU role. I was looking at cost management. I was in the middle of a financial crisis. I was doing all these other projects. So I was working long hours. I didn't have time. So I think the key thing is before you plan, is always to understand what the problems. So I've just mentioned 3 problems, and we'll share like a couple of slides afterwards so your the team get the whole oversight. So in terms of those problems, it was, okay, how do I tackle them? How do I actually, come up with a plan? So the first thing you always do, especially when you're overwhelmed, is you need to actually look at strategies and tactics to build your inner credibility and confidence. You do this by looking at your prior experience and creating a framework to build technology delivery experience fast. And the strategy and tactics I used included these 2 things. Thinking time. So I created dedicated time to understand the current situation regarding the project requirements, the project plan, risks and issues, and identified my own gaps. And I did this out of hours when no one else was on the floor, so I could actually create some space and time for my other job. And that's really important. If you don't create that dedicated thinking time, what happens? We react and we're not able to then think things through rationally. And then the second thing that I did to address this mindset of self-doubt, limited experience in technology delivery, and limited time availability is I identified and built a key network of SMEs. And by that, what I mean is I identified the key SMEs and connectors in technology and finance. So for example, the developer I was working with, the business manager, the finance SME, to do one of 3 things. The first thing is I wanted to leverage their knowledge to cover my own learning gaps and build the on-the-job technology delivery experience because I didn't have it. Secondly, I wanted to capture the full project workflow and minimize risks, ensure the risks and issues and work blocks were identified and the project plan was complete. And thirdly, I wanted to create an effective working team to deliver the plan. And I did this by using a Q&A framework, which I use consistently, which is asking them, what's missing? How do we do it? What's an issue? Tell me the priority. And then guiding them to give me a structure, give me answers that we can then leverage and use. So those are the key things I did around that. And I did some other pieces as well, but I think I can sense that you want to ask me a question.
Yeah, I have already a couple of questions, basically. That sounds easy. Like, I need to think first that I need to gather SMEs, but how to make all those people to work with you? How to select like proper people, where to find them?
So the key thing always is, and this is why having qualifications on projects is really important. The first thing that you do is you need to work with whoever's assigned you the project, speak with them, because usually with a project, before you start with a project, you already have your governance structure in place. You already have the key people, the sponsors, the SMEs already identified. If not, you then ask people around the network to say, hey, who's this person who can do this? We need these things from this project. This is what we're looking for. This is why, and this is the amount of capacity and hours we need. Who do you suggest we work with? You then go away and have conversations with people to make sure, 1, they're the right person, or 2, you may find that that person is your main contact and that they then act as a coordinator for the information that you need. And then thirdly, what you do is you need to be so clear on what the project requirements are and the scope so that whoever you're bringing on board is the right person. So that when you're having conversations, and this is what I did, I had conversations with my boss, I had conversations with the CTO, the business manager for technology, his number 2. I had conversations with the finance folks to say, this is what we need. This is why we need it. Who's the person who can give me that? And by doing it in that structured way, what that enables you to do, it enables you to identify people very quickly, have those conversations very quickly, and then set up that structure. Or you may find, which tends to happen, is you don't have someone. You don't have an SME. You don't have someone who can fill that gap. In which case,
sorry for interrupting you, but even like early, you told you need to have a conversations done very quickly with CTO, with CEO, and so on. But how to engage leadership team as well? Because you have limited time, limited budget, you need to run already the project, and they are normally very busy.
Okay, this is where having project management qualifications is really helpful, and this is what you need to do. The 101 for project management is one, you already have your project scope criteria defined up front. You have the governance defined up front. You have the terms of engagement up front. So that when, and by that I mean everyone, the sponsors, the CTO, the senior leaders know exactly what is expected of them. You set up a governance structure, which is what I did, to deal with the senior leaders' competing priorities, where on that governance structure, you review, you discuss project progress, your priorities, issues and challenges, resourcing needs. So by doing that in that formal way, what that allows you to do, it allows everyone included in the project, be it BA, be it project manager, the CTO, the senior guy team, to understand this is my role, this is what's expected of me. If that doesn't happen, this is the knock-on impact. And when I set up projects, when I set up governance, what I really do is, and what I've learned is really powerful, is you need to show people the cause and effect. The cause and effect of the delay of the decision, the cause and effect of if this thing doesn't happen, this is why you should care. And the thing I always I'm getting really excited now, forgive me. So the thing I always ask myself, if I'm speaking with someone, especially if it's someone senior, someone I want to leverage their relationships to help me unblock things, is this is why you should care. And if I can't articulate that clearly, then that's on me. And the way you do that, you explain things. This is the problem statement. This is the impact it will have. This is why you should care. And I learned that approach from an old boss of mine who worked at McKinsey. And he was saying, Midula, when it comes to problem solving and communication, one of the things that we need to do, especially with projects, is to be really clear as to what is expected of everyone. So then it doesn't become into a blame game culture. It just becomes more of, this was done, this was the impact, this is what we now need to address, this is a potential solution, what's going to happen, keep quiet, senior leaders, please give me the answer because I'm only the PM and it's up to you.
That's really great.
It sounds really easy, but I think one of the things I've learned is if you have that structure and clear framework, it then enables you to move from those things very quickly and easily. It also enables you to then have really good conversations with everyone you're working with, especially if you're limited in time. I know that most BAs are triple hatting. Most PMs are triple hatting because you don't have the resources in place. So it means that it's really even more vital to ensure that whatever conversation you're having, it's clear. You understand what you're doing, why you're having that conversation, what you want from that person. You explain it in a way where they understand the impact. If they don't care, then okay, this is the risk. Bring it up to the governance meeting and let them decide if that risk is worth remediating or ignoring.
Yeah, BAs and PMs are doing expectations management a lot, I believe.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it's more
talking about this example that you shared with us. You named also other problems like limited time, limited budget. How do you deal with that one?
So in terms of limited time availability, what I also did was there's a couple of other strategies I took, which was actually proactive, because my background is planning and organization. So I'm always looking ahead. And for me, because I already had the skill, I drew on my existing experience from Deutsche Bank, from working in with traders, to look ahead and say, hey, what issues can I see down the track? And those issues, can I group them? Can I categorize them? If I resolve this one problem, would that then eliminate these issues? And the only way you're going to ever learn how to do that is to start thinking and practicing strategy, being strategic versus tactics. And there's this really great philosophy I use, and it's Pareto's law, which is the 80-20 rule.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea around this, and it works, is 80% of your return, what you want, only requires 20% of effort. So you now need to identify, out of the problems that you're facing, which ones are the critical ones, which ones are the strategic ones, because guess what? You can't do it all. Because not every single thing is a priority, even though when you do projects, you get your priority list and you have 100 priorities. That's not the case.
That will work for sure.
So when you have that limited time, what you do is you base and limited resources. What you do is do one of two things. Is you can do, and this is what I've done before, you do a roadmap of everything that's expected of you based on your resources. And what's real, and all that.
Sorry for interrupting you, but when you're saying expected from you, means from the project or from you personally playing the role?
Where I'm talking more about from the project, or if you're in a BA or project manager, you've got 100 requests coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you pull that all together and you say, these are my requests. But you don't put 100 requests on there. What you'll find, and this is one of the things that after this call you can do now, is you're able to group those requests into categories to say, this is to do with regulation, this is to do with on demand, So there's various things that you can group together. You put that down on a simple PowerPoint. Doesn't have to be fancy, to say that's my demand, in effect, everything that's coming into me. Now, this is my capacity based on my team, working normal hours, not working from 8 to 12 at night. Say, this is my capacity. And guess what? Based on this, based on these milestones, based on this capacity, Houston, we either have a problem or we don't.
And what to do in case we have a problem?
So the reason,
because normally it is like that.
Yeah, the reason you do this is you present it back to the decision maker. So you basically say, the reason I need to have a call with you is we need to prioritize. So you let me know which ones do we need to do, which ones are the priorities. So you don't make the call because it's not your job, it's not your responsibility. Because don't forget, you're either the BA or you're either the project manager. You have a scope already defined. So if anything goes against that and you find, hey, I've got a problem, then it's the decision makers, the sponsors who get the opportunity to make that call. But what you can do is help them by, when you do that demand view, it's really useful because a lot of the times they don't know that you have all of these other requests coming in. A lot of the times, and this is what happened in Deutsche Bank when I was working as a product owner there. I know it's a slightly different case study where I was working for the chief in the chief data office, and we were implementing a data tool, both on software releases as well as the infrastructure platform side. And he'd contacted one of the developers and said, hey, I'd like you to do this analysis. Yeah, go and do it. I'm really interested in this. And then my developer turned around and said, Midula, I've got all of this other stuff to do. How am I going to do it? And he's asked me to do these things. Then this other person has asked me to do all of this other stuff on the infrastructure side. We're not going to do it. So this is why by putting it into that one pager, we're able to have a really nice conversation with, oh my gosh, James, and explain to him, hey, James, this is everything that you've asked the team to do. Out of everything you've asked us to do, this is the strategic stuff, this is the business stuff, and this is other things that we're not sure. This is how much we have available. And, you know, you can see the timelines. So can you please let me know what we can do? And immediately the conversation shifted, which is, wow, I didn't realize that the requests I'd raised would lead to this. Thank you for putting it together. Now I understand. I have the big picture. I don't need you to do this stuff. Please don't. That was me because I was curious. Also, the other stuff that we're doing on infrastructure, let's break it down. We don't need to do all of it in one go. So the one thing that I've learned, which is really powerful, is when it comes to communication, whether you're a BA, a PM, is if you're able to convey that information in a simple way where people can see the cause and the effect. If you can actually summarize things where you go, hey, these are the big pockets of work you've asked us to do. And the issue is we don't have the time. So can you let me know one of two things? If you want us to do this work, tell me how we can do it in a smart way, because we're already at the highest levels in terms of productivity. Are there good role models elsewhere in the organization that I can follow? Or if we're not able to do it, which one should we focus on? And then thirdly, we can do some of this, but we can't do everything that you wanted. So there will be a delay. And then what that allows you to do is to have a really grown-up, informed conversation with the decision maker. And there will be times, because that's happened to me, where, and this is at UBS, where the person will just look at you and go, okay, I'll leave it with you and walk away.
But normally people, they do not like bringing those like bad news. We will have a delay. That is not possible to do everything. Let's think about priorities and so on. They're afraid of to say this like no answer.
But it's not bad news. All you're presenting to them are facts. All you're presenting them is a current situation. So it's not bad news. It's more, are you actually sharing with them the real issue, the complete picture? Because when you then share with someone the complete picture to say, hey, this is where our situation is. I'm coming to you because we're stuck. How do we get out of this problem? How do we get out of this issue? It's not bad news. It's basically, we have a situation. What do we do? How do we overcome that? What sort of things can delay?
Have you ever got the answer that, no, we still need to do everything? Please figure out how to do that.
When I was so this was at UBS, I didn't know any better. So at UBS, when I was the overwhelm, because I didn't have my project management qualification, so I had no Prince 2, had no Agile, I had nothing. That's where I wasn't able to respond to that in a good way. And I thought it was up to me to drive it. And I'm fairly sure that a lot of BAs and project managers and product owners have felt that, where they feel as if it's up to me, my responsibility to drive this, it's up to me that this doesn't fail. Well, I'm here to say to you, no, it isn't. I'm here to say to you, the most important thing that you need to have are qualifications around project management if you're doing a project. And I'll explain why. It goes back to the roles and responsibilities. It's because it's not your role there's clear roles that have been defined around sponsors, what they need to do, around you as a PM, around you as a business analyst. So why should you be responsible for the role and responsibility for someone else if they're not doing it? Is that right? Does that mean you failed? Or Is it more that the conversations haven't happened at the start? Is it more that when you have these governance meetings and people say it has to happen, fine, but in order for this to happen, I need you to do these things by this day. If that doesn't happen, then the knock-on impact is this. And then if you come back...
That's very tough conversations, especially when you're working for a service company and you have a client and you're saying, no, that will not happen.
You're not saying no. You're saying, in order for this to happen, I need these things to be in place. And that's a different conversation. That's the difference. You're not saying no. You're saying, in order for me to actually deliver this, in the same way when we write contracts to say, hey, I'm going to do this for you, in return for this, these things need to happen. And what I've seen is failed is, where it doesn't work so well, is when people don't explain that. They don't give you the transparency. You suddenly are quiet, then all of a sudden someone says, yeah, I've got a problem. And then you're thinking, well, hang on a moment. Why didn't you tell me a month ago? I could have done something about it. So when I was running this project at UBS Asset Management, because I have a planning and organization background, and I'm always looking ahead, I was always looking ahead and working backwards and saying, okay, in terms of this project scope, I know I have 2 people. I have 2 sets of success criteria, and they're both different. One is the CTO, who is interested in making sure this tool goes live because then his boss is happy, but also then they can charge out his costs to anyone who uses it. Cool. Then the other is the deputy CFO, Manoj, who was my success criteria is, I need to make sure that whatever happens from a financial perspective, we have the right levels of capital in place. If we don't, we're not signing it off. So they're not competing priorities, even though they appear to be. It's more, in order for this project to be completely successful and to minimize risk, to make sure it does what it said it would do, we need to make sure both happen. And in that situation, what happened was there's quite a lot of conflict. And guess who was in the middle?
You for sure. And you both basically did know something when assigned you on that project. You had required skills for that because you're naming like planning, you did that and this, you were already prepared.
No, it's because of my previous background and the way I work. I always look ahead. I always look to proactively manage things. I look at, and what I found is really useful is if you have a good perspective of how an organization works in terms of overall the commercials. If you understand how everything falls in together, which is, I've been very fortunate in my career. I know how the revenue side works. I know how the risk, treasury, the reg side works. I know how the back office works. I know how technology works. I know how costs work and legal work. And because I have that big picture view, and even when I didn't, I drew in with other people, and it was always about, I want to understand the overall picture. Because when I do, then that means I can then plan ahead. I can make sure we get the right people on board. I know that we can manage risks. And when you have that complete view, again, when you go and present issues and challenges to sponsors, they can have a good conversation, go, okay, I understand it now. I see. And then it's up to them to direct you. And when they say, I want you to come up with a solution, guess what? You can. But the solution doesn't necessarily mean it's the strategic long-term solution that you would like to do, like the nice to have. You may have to do a sticking plaster, which is you may have to come up with a tactical shortcut just to get it through, with the knowledge that further down the line, you will do more work on the project to make sure, if it's a technology project, that it's sustainable. You've got the security structure in place, you've got the resilience in place. So part of this is learning the difference of strategy, learning strategy tactics, learning how to use both to be adaptable, to give your business, your clients what they need, but also learning how to communicate with confidence. And by that, using a simple structure, which is, this is why, this is the problem, this is why you care, this is what I need from you, this is the timeline, there you go.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Not only to think about strategy and to be perfectionist, but also to think about tactic. Yeah. And in real life, basically those tactics and those solutions that we did immediately, let's say, then sometimes they live like for years.
Exactly. Because that just shows you what the priorities really are. Because when people say tactics, part of it comes back to what's a priority, what's good enough, what's your minimal viable product. And it comes back to where does your client actually want to invest their money? And if you're able to do that, great. And that is why you have to be adaptable. Just because someone wants the perfect solution today, it may not be feasible. And this is why having a conversation where you show and communicate, these are the challenges or this is my pipeline of what we have to do. This is our capacity as a team based on our skills. Oh, I think you've frozen, Julia. Hey, yeah.
Yeah, I disappeared. Yeah, sorry. Something happened with my internet connection.
It's okay.
I would like to ask you the following question. Returning back to this UBS example, you shared already a lot of things, what happened, what you did, how it ended up. Was it successful or not?
So I have a life jacket. What do you think? You know me, and what do you think happened?
I believe that you succeeded. No doubt.
Yes, but at a cost. So the success was everything was delivered globally. We had a global release across all the locations. All the functionality was delivered, as well as a post-implementation support. So we ran a post-system support system with the finance colleagues for about 6 months. So everything was fine. Everyone was happy. But it came at a cost. And that cost was, I had a really bad burnout. As I mentioned, I was working really long hours anyway. And the person I was dating at the time, my boyfriend at the time, we were laughing. He worked in mergers and acquisitions. And we used to catch up in the evening at 7 o'clock for a date night for dinner. And guess what? I'd then go back to work. And I'd be there at work till maybe 12, 1 in the morning. If I wasn't working on the weekends, I was sleeping. So I burnt out.
Oh my God, crazy.
So
crazy schedule. And you were lucky that your boyfriend had similar schedule and your relations basically survived.
Yeah, I understand the hours that an M&A banker does, let's just say. But that wasn't healthy. And one of the things I realized, and this is one of the lessons learned, is sometimes things need to fail. And I'll explain why. So the key thing that we need is the qualifications for our role. And what I mean is not doing the LinkedIn qualification. I mean the real qualification where you're in a classroom, whether it's virtually, you're being taught by the best in class. So for example, when I did Agile, the Agile trainer, he was worked at Ford, incredible guy. I was in a room with people from different industries. And what was really great was I learned the best in class, best working practices. We were all sharing different ideas of this is how you apply Agile, this is when it doesn't work, these are the things you need to be mindful of. Why that's important is when it comes back to recognizing that we're all under pressure when it comes to time. We want to be effective. We're doing multiple things. If that's the case, you need to improve your productivity. You do things smarter rather than working harder. How do you do that? You learn you learn from the best. You build up really good working practices, so you know the shortcuts. That's the first thing. And the other reason why that PM qualification is really important is I would have realized that, hey, I'm not responsible for this project. I've done more than enough. It got to the point where the tax person had resigned, moved to another job, and guess who was looking at the tax consequence for implications for each of the companies for withholding tax? Me. I didn't know anything about withholding tax, and I had a 2-day handover with him. Just because I'm an accountant, I figured it out.
But it's like so hard to let your project to fail.
But it's not about you. It's about all of you, because one of the things I've learned is everyone has their role and responsibility. When we have our role and responsibility, including our sponsors, we set up the governance correctly, we have our terms of reference, you've done your role. But if you've not been set up for success, but other people aren't doing theirs, why is the failure on you? It isn't. And there's like this mindset thing where people are trying to trick you to say, hey, it's you, it's you. It isn't. You can still be successful and have a win when you've actually delivered what you need to do. And when we hide that failure, this is what happens. You basically hide a resourcing issue. So the project or the work that you're doing hasn't been resourced correctly. Secondly, you also hide potentially people's personal development, so that some people may not be up to the skills, may not be up to the job yet. So you're hiding that from them. And it also means that the senior leadership team, they're not able to then make the right choices. So that failure isn't yours. So now, earlier you asked me the question to say, hey, what if it's not possible to say no? You had no chance to say no. This time, I would have said no in a different way. I would have said, yes, right, this is the work. I mentioned about that roadmap. The work you've asked me to do around all of this stuff around cost management. Hey, and I know that we're in the financial crisis, so I get that this bit is really important. You've asked me to do offshoring. You've asked me to do outsourcing. Great. You're asking me to do this project. Now, can you ask me what I can drop and what I can't? Because I'm already working from 8, 9 in the morning to 7. And I'm being quiet.
I have very great question connected basically with this one, with like failing and all this topic on the platform from our audience. Do you feel the challenges of imposter syndrome are different for contractors, consultants, and employees?
Great question, because the difference is in this. And I've been a permanent member of staff, and I've been a contractor freelancer. When you're a permanent member of staff, you have a longer grace period. People already say, hey, you're new to the role. I'm expecting you'll be up and running in between 6 to 9 months. So it's fine. So then you have a longer period of time to overcome your imposter syndrome, to build those skills, to build those experience. And the pressure for you to do that is not there. Now, when you're a freelancer, contractor, or an EPAM colleague,
service company, let's say, not only EPAM, I believe, all service companies.
Service company. So when you came to Kantar last few years ago, and Jeremy said, hey, this is what I need for you to do, you all had to hit the ground running. And you're having to figure out what this new technologies was and micro front end. When that period, that grace time disappears, it's not there. So yes, you're right. As a contractor, as a freelancer, as a service company, you do not have that grace period. So you have to start making sure that whatever you do, you basically start accelerating, leveraging, and being smart with your time. And it's normal. I think I really want to impress this point is it's really normal for you to then think, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. What's wrong with me? There isn't. It's because you haven't had the time yet for the skills and for the experience yet? So I think that's a great question, because I've been in both and I've noticed the difference.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you very much. I have also a very interesting question about your experience overall. I believe person is very inspired by that one, how you are switching roles and like pushing yourself to the challenges. So the question is, what if you have a very much limited time for dealing with all the gaps, but can't miss the chances of taking over some new challenges?
You have, oh my God, that's a really great question. What you have to do is be pragmatic and realize and make peace with yourself, saying, I really want to do this. I just don't have the time yet to do everything. Now, if I had the time, this is what I would do. And this is how I would get there. So when you do your gap analysis would be here. I get to that point in 6 months, 7 months. Now, the fact that you don't have the time, you have to extend that gap to maybe a year. And then you have to accept and recognize that. So then when you're looking through this imposter syndrome and saying, oh my gosh, why am I not getting that faster? What's wrong with me? There isn't. It's because you've chosen something really cool, which is, I want to do this thing. I'm really excited. I'm really inspired, but I don't have the time and I don't want to give up the opportunity. And because I don't have the time, the strategy I'm going to use is it's going to take me a little bit longer to build up that experience, to build up that skills, but you can still be smart about it. And how you be smart about it is you read really good books, you find great role models, and then you practice in your work. Because I had a really great boss, amazing guy, and get feedback. He used to give me feedback all of the time. And I was really poor at problem solving. He said, Midula, you're great at this. Your problem solving skills aren't so constructive. Focus on that. And he recommended me a brilliant book. I'll share it on the link. I'll share it with you afterwards. And then what I did is, rather than reading it, I applied it. So even though you may say, okay, this opportunity I want to take, it'll take me a long time to actually build the skills, there's certain things you can do to actually accelerate that.
So basically what you need to do, you need to accept that you do not have enough skills and to be ready for this, like imposter syndrome, and to be prepared for all other steps.
Yeah, okay. And be strategic about it. You don't have time, so be smart with your time. Identify what are the key things which will give you the biggest return. And by doing that, speak to the right people, the right role models, so then they can give you the shortcuts. Just don't speak to anyone and everyone. Find the right people.
We have also a lot of questions on the platform and on YouTube. As we have limited time and still I have one topic that I would like to discuss with you, let us answer them later in offline mode, whatever you will decide, but definitely we will address all of them. So I would like to switch to the topic of your book. Yay! Basically, to empower people to believe in themselves. So what are the main steps from your simple guide to build positive beliefs and raise self-esteem? Your recommendations for every day.
Right. Buy the book, firstly. I call it my SOS handbook to mindset and reprogramming yourself. So whether you have this belief that you're not good enough, and that's a negative self-perception you have, whether it's because you are suffering from imposter syndrome and you just need a reminder that you have the skills, it's a simple framework. It's a 5-step framework, which takes about 50 minutes a day. It's simple, it's repeatable, and it's based on 4 areas to work on. The first one is self-worth. Second is about appreciating and acknowledging your skills and qualities. So that then addresses your, am I good enough? Imposter syndrome. The third, which is really important, is around capturing your imagination and your dreams and creativity, because creativity is so important to really enable us to transform and work smarter as well. And the fourth aspect around this is managing worries. you could have the most important, amazing mindset. You could be, yeah, I feel great about myself, but life happens. So this is about how do you get unstuck on that? So it's a 5-step framework, and it's based on neurology, neuroscience, and it's about habit setting. Very simple. The book will also come with it in the next few weeks with video tutorials, as well as some resourcing videos to help you around communication and working smarter. Does that answer your questions?
Yeah, for sure. I already bought my book, so I have it. Lucky me. Okay, very last question from my side, as unfortunately we need to finish already our conversation, and that will be very provocative question. Have you felt any doubts related to the conference, as it is another new activity you did?
So I'm going to ask you, do you think I did?
I won't answer this question. No, I'm asking you.
Oh my gosh, I've been just like, I was feeling sick last night when I went to bed. I've never...
Seriously?
Yeah, I was feeling really sick. I was really nervous. I've never done a conference before. This is the first time I've done something like this. So when Yulia asked me originally, I said, yeah, of course I'll do it. And then afterwards I was, what the have I done?
You so easily agreed.
I was
such
like,
amazing book. Let's go to the conference. Yes.
And then we decided we'd make it really harder by doing an interview. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. But what really helped is, and this is why teamwork and brain power, collective brain power is really important. Yulia and Rina, they came up with, they asked me questions, said, hey, tell me some stories. But in terms of telling me your stories, they gave me the framework, which is, what was the situation? How did you feel? What do you do? And then what were the lessons learned? So by giving me that framework, it then enabled me to put my crazy ideas into some structure. And then I also looked back and I thought, how do I actually build this credibility about myself that I can do this? So I went back to previous experience I've had. So I used to run global calls with about 100 people on them, going through the financial forecasting. And I was like, okay, I've done that before. I've done pitching before. I've also done a couple of podcasts, so I know how to be interviewed. And then I did a lot of prep. So I sent Yulia, Darina, this deck, which is like 50, 60 pages long, to say, hey, take a look at this. And I think you were pretty shocked when you saw that, but that was because I knew I didn't have the skills or the experience yet. So how do I actually get that for myself? So yes, I had amazingly high imposter syndrome during today.
And thank you. I believe that was amazing. I enjoyed really, and I hope our audience as well. So thank you for coming and agreeing for this interview.
Oh, thank you, Yulia. I really enjoyed giving this interview, and I love what you're doing at the BA conference. I think it's really important to share with people real insights, practical takeaways. And what we'll do as well, I put together a handout, just a small handout of problem solving 101 with the things that we didn't cover today. So hopefully that will be useful as well.
I was trying basically to share that one during your speaking, but not sure that people saw that one. So we'll share that as follow-up. Thank you very much. You also promised to address all the questions that we have on the platform and on YouTube channel, and I hope to see you more on our conferences.
I look forward to it. Take care and have a great rest of the day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
That's all for now. Thank you for watching us today, and tomorrow we expect 3 more insightful topics about strategic effectiveness, about AI, and maybe one day AI will replace BA professionals on their places, and then we will talk about what clients expect from our roles. So see you tomorrow, and just keep in mind that by the end of the week, each day we will have 2 hours time slots for our conference. So see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching us today. you.